Hi guys, welcome back. Nick Reeves here and Ewan's here as well. This video is a sort of bit of introduction to what one of the projects we're going to do next. Next to me here we've got a Ben Buckle Novice. I call it a Ben Buckle one. It's actually designed by a chap called Sid King, who's still around. I believe he designed it in the mid-70s-ish. If somebody knows, they can comment at the bottom. Ben Buckle produced the kits after Sid stopped producing the kits. It was originally produced under the Cotswold Kits brand, and it's still sold today by Ben Buckle Vintage. I'll put a link below to it all. Now, the model itself, a bit of history to it. It was designed by Sid as a basic trainer for his daughter to learn to fly. Rudder elevator. The plan showed a OS 10 FP on the front. 50-inch span, very basic, easy construction. Ideal first build if you've never built an aeroplane before. Now, the one we've got here, this was the first one I built myself. I saw the Novice for the first time at a friend's house many years ago now. And I thought it was a great little aeroplane. It had a little diesel on the front. I think it was either 1cc or 1.5cc. And it was just a nice little float around, sort of relaxing aeroplane to fly. As I found out about it, I went and bought the kit, and I built the aeroplane you see in front of you. This, I think, you're 9, aren't you? So this must be at least, I think, 9 or 10 years old now. It's had various different engines on the front. It's had 1cc diesels, it's had 1.5cc diesels, DCs, PAWs, but currently it's got a glow on the front and it's well overpowered at that. It was more of an experiment than anything. It's a 12, I think, on there just now, SC12. But it still flies just as well. You know, it's a great aeroplane. Currently 3-channel, but with a diesel on the front, it's 2-channel. Good bit of fun. Good bit of fun aeroplane. So, why am I telling you all this? Well, me and Ewan are going to build a couple more, or should I say, finish a couple more aeroplanes. So what I'll do is I'll get this one out of the way, and I'll show you what we're going to be doing next. Right, so this is how they come. Nice colourful box, and I've noticed a price on here of 53 quid. I know for a fact there are a lot more than that now. I said there'll be a link underneath where they are. Now, this is one kit box of the 2 that we've got. So, long story short, before he was around, I went through a phase of I want to build a lot of Novices. So I built the one downstairs, down here. I bought another kit which is still in the loft part built, and I also bought, a bit later on, 2 other kits. I bought them because they were on offer and the guy wanted a shot of them, so he basically gave me 1.5 price. They sat in the loft, and then I asked my dad, who loves building, is there any chance you could build these for me to a stage where I can finish and cover them? He did that, I got them back, and they sat up in the loft for a little while. Ewan now wants to fly diesel powered models a bit more because he can start them himself. So I thought, great, let's get them out, let's get them finished, let's get them flying. So what we've got with this box is bits. Vital instructions, but we've probably gone past the stage of needing instructions just now. We've got a tailplane that's been tips fitted to it. Second one. And then we've got a fin and rudder twice. And two pieces I think I meant with the elevator. On that one, is it tapered or is it same thickness all the way through? The elevator. Is it thick at the trailing edge? Alright, okay. So these are two elevators. I thought they actually tapered like a proper training section, but they'll be fine as they are. It works on the other one, so there's a push rod, which will come through in a minute. And then there's possibly a plan or two plans folded up here. So if need be, I can build a full aeroplane from the basic plans, tracing it out, cutting all the parts out, and go from there. Now, I was quite disappointed when I saw this box, because it's my favourite chocolate. As it is, there's no chocolate in it. But there is two tanks, 2 ounce tank, 2 ounces of diesel is going to last a very long time. What I'll be doing is, most people with these tanks for glow installation, they have a clunk, a flexible line in the tank, so that no matter which way up, the clunk's always in the fuel, due to gravity and all that. But in these tanks, because they're unthrottled diesel engines, there's going to be no way of stopping the engine if we want to stop the engine. Say we're getting too high or it's getting dark or whatever. What I'm going to do on the feed line, because these aeroplanes aren't meant to be flown predominantly upside down for any length of time, I'm going to put the feed to the engine into the bottom of the tank on a fixed brass tube, so that if the model is turned upside down, it will starve the engine of fuel. Can be quite handy if you want to get down in a hurry. So I've got two tanks. We've got some screws which are off an engine mount bag, a couple of spinners, some hardware, 2 lots of hardware, another mount, some push rods, bits and pieces basically to finish off. So that's all that. That's all the bits and pieces. But what we have got, which is going to help us, I'll put that back in there. Get this out of the way. There you go. Stand there. We have 2 fuselages, all very, very, very close to being ready to cover. What I'll probably do is, I haven't decided yet, but what I might do is cover the fuselages before actually fitting the tail, and then cover the tail once it's in, because I can remember on the other one, and it's always the same for me, covering this area here underneath the tailplane, especially when you've got a push rod coming out, it's a right pain in the backside to make a neat job of it. So I might well cover the fuselage, certainly the sides, before putting the tailplane on. So as they are at the minute, both of them are near identical, even down to the engines. They've both got little, I don't know how well you can see that, little DC Sabres in them, 1.5 cc. We need to do some fettling around the front because it's a very nice snug tight fit. We will have to take the engine out, one, to be able to get access to make the holes for the tank pipe work, but also we need to fuel proof inside there and properly give it a good soaking of fuel proofer, because these diesels, they produce some amount of crud, shall we say, so they need to be fuel proofed really well. There's a bit, just notice on this one, there's a bit of a hole at the bottom there, but I'll stick a bit of block in there and whatnot, shape it. So a bit of sanding at the front. We're going to have to put a notch in the side here for the needle valve, which I haven't seen anywhere. Could you go through that box, see if you can see the 2 needle valves? That could be a problem if we haven't got needle valves. We've got wing dowels in the fuselages. So yeah, the engine's got to come out for fuel proofing, the fitting. But other than that, they're ready to go. The wing dowels are in the fuselages to go through. Are they in there? Yeah, is there 2? Well, have a good look through. Take stuff out if you have to. The other one's in there, is it? Okay, so what we're going to have to do, because of the size of the needle valves come out the side there. We're going to have to take a notch. I'll probably just take a scallop down. Scallop. Make a hole in the side for the needle valve to clear, and that'll fit in there quite neatly. The good thing with these engines is once the needle valve's set, you don't have to play with it too much. It's more the compression you have to play with. So we've got the two needle valves, which are safe. I might have to straighten that one up, otherwise it won't work. So that's two fuselages, and then we also have a pair of wings. Again, these are basically at the stage of covering. There's a few things we need to do. Again, I don't know how well you'll see in here. It's just been rough carved, so there's a bit of finish sanding to do. The other thing we need to add at the centre section is some strengthening to the top, some ply, because this is just balsa, and with the elastic bands coming over the top, crushes the trailing edge. So it's a wise thing to do to put an extra bit of ply on the trailing edge. If I'm honest, this is the first time I've actually had a good look at these airframes since they came back to me. When they arrived with my dad last time, they almost went straight up into the loft. So yeah, there's a little bit of sanding, a little bit of work to do, but nothing that an evening with a sanding block won't cure. Yeah, see, can you see this one? How that needs sanded down there in shape. So you basically just follow the ring. So we've got two of them. Now, one of the positive things, this project all came about basically because we were down at the Nationals, and there's lots of diesel engines flying about down there, free flight control line, and everybody loves a diesel engine, and if you don't, why not? You should do. So it spurred Ewan on, I think more than anything, to have an aeroplane that he could start, he could fuel up, he could start it, and he could fly it simply himself and just relax with it. The fact that we've got two part built just made it even easier, because we both have one each to fly, and we go and fly together. Those that do fly already, you don't see many kids flying, let alone flying diesel powered aeroplanes. So it's going to be a good project to get up and running. Also, when I was down at the Nats, it was only when we were coming home in the van talking about this, I suddenly thought, what are we going to cover them with? Now, Solarfilm, the company Solarfilm, used to make a product called Solartex, which the other Novice was covered with. It's a fabric, heat shrink fabric, basically, self-adhesive, heat reactive adhesive fabric covering. They've gone out of business. They reckon they've got a year's worth of stock that they can sell off. But because of that, people are buying up stock, so they've got plenty. In doing so, the price has been pushed right up, and at 25 quid-ish for a 2 metre roll, it's fairly expensive. Now, the plan for these two is to have 4 colours, 2 on each model. When I came home, I had a look through my covering box to see what covering I actually had. And as luck would have it, I've got the 4 colours that we want in text, and I'm hoping there's only one that we might have to work out a colour scheme change to be able to use the film. I might not have enough of it. We might have to be a bit careful with how we cover the models. But we'll come to that. That'll probably be in the next video. Oh, just looking at it, where are the servos for this? Just trying to grab me out a servo, the little servo. We've got new drawer units down here, which are great help, but we don't know where everything is just yet. Next drawer up. See one of those boxes? Now, I bought these servos at the time. The thing that I've noticed with the original Novice that I built is that even now, it feels really heavy in the hand. So you've got 2 standard servos, which is what it was designed around. And it's got a tiny little 9-gram servo for the throttle. It still feels really heavy. So I thought, how can I cut the weight down? And this was something that I thought about at the time. And I bought a load of these Corona servos. 9, 929 mgs. But again, if I can find the link to them, I'll put that in the bottom as well. These are 12.5 gram servos, but they've got 2 kilos of torque. So that'll be plenty for what we want to do here. I want to make sure these are the right ones. Space it for. Yeah, the servo bearers in there are the right size, so it is these servos that I plan to use. So we should have everything now to finish the aeroplanes. We might have to get things like sanding sealer, balsa lock, if we can get balsa lock. I did buy some cover grip from Deluxe Materials when we were at the Nats to try. I've never used it before. It should be the same as balsa lock. It's a heat reactive glue that you paint on and then cover afterwards. Obviously we're going to need glues and things like that. Props, spinners. No, we've got spinners, haven't we? But we might need spinners depending on what. One prop. Yeah, well, I've got plenty of props in the box over there. So there might be bits and pieces that we need. The one thing which I know we haven't got are batteries. Now, I purposely haven't got batteries because the plan calls for a purpose-made tin tank. So you actually make up the tank to suit a certain size, and then you put the battery in alongside it. Because I'm using off-the-shelf plastic tanks, they're bigger, the battery doesn't fit. So what I did with the original Novice was I got I think it was a 1000 milliamp AAA pack, thereabouts, and that fitted really nice in the front, but I still needed to have lead to balance it. My concern is that I might still need lead to balance it, but we'll see. If we need lead, we need lead. It's one of those things. But yeah, that's the sort of introduction to the next project. I don't know if we're going to start tonight, but we're going to crack on and start sanding, basically. Getting our heads around what we need to do and where and how. As we've got the space to do it now, we can both work simultaneously. Sanding things, shaping. And we're making basically a matched pair. The only thing that's going to be different with them at the end is the colour scheme. The one thing as well, yeah, I just thought about it. The Novice kit plan calls for a little monowheel, so you don't scrape the bottom of the fuselage on landing. I've done away with that because again I thought it would be extra weight, albeit minimal. It's extra weight. We always fly these off grass, and even if there's a tarmac runway, there's always a bit of grass somewhere you can plonk it down in. But yeah, it's going to be a good project, isn't it? Get these flying. So hopefully you'll stick around and see how these get on. But until the next time, we'll catch you again soon. Thanks for watching the video. Give us a thumbs up if you like what I've just shown you. Click on my face down here. You can subscribe. Remember to tick the bell so you get notifications as to when new videos are put up. And down this side, there'll probably be some videos that you might also like to watch. Catch you next time.